Hello and welcome to the SUGC podcast. My name's Gareth Shaw, social media and marketing support at SUGC, and I'd like to introduce to my left is Malcolm Eustace, County Secretary. Malcolm, good evening. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for putting this together.
No worries at all. And our very, very special Christmas guest, Mr. Richard Mansell. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, very good. Do I kind of say European Tour graduates, European Tour superstar? What do we call you these days?
Just a local lad from Burtwood, I think.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Thank you for your time tonight. And tonight's just going to be very much in conversation, talking and taking the audience through some really kind of poignant moments of the last few years for you and looking forward into 2021. Just to kind of kick us off, Richard, just take us through the kind of the journey you've gone into from very much kind of early stages right through to where you are now, ready for the European Tour next year.
Yeah, so started golf when I think I was 9. Started out at the Chase Golf Club, just went down with my dad. He used to be in a society, and I played football like a lot of kids, and loved football. That was my first passion. Thought I was better than it. Thought I was better at football than golf, and everyone else was kind of telling me that I wasn't. So that was like my first ever heartbreak, because football was my first love. And then I think when I was kind of 12, I remember there was a turning point, and I was playing in the Staffordshire boys at Samwell, and I think I was up 21 handicap at 12, and I played because, well, I don't know, my dad just entered me into the Staffs boys. I'd never played in anything kind of above like my junior comps at the club at the time, and I ended up winning the net by quite a lot of shots, and I think I shot about 7 or 8 over gross my second round off 21, and got quite a big cut, and it was Les Burleson at the time who was my coach, and he picked me for the Staffordshire under-14s in a match against Derbyshire at Ashbourne. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember, I've still got the picture. I had my pencil bag on, the Staffordshire uniform that didn't fit me because I was the smallest 12-year-old in the world, and I was off 15 handicap, and I remember the 3 other under 14 players were Lewis Birchall, who I think at the time was off 3 or 4. There was Rob Burleson, who was off about the same. And then there was a kid called Joe Dean, who was a year older than me, from Oxley Park, and he was off 7. And then there was me off 15 just there. And I was thinking, this is ridiculous. I remember we played the Derbyshire lads, and I think their highest handicap was probably 7. And I remember winning the foursomes with Joe. I think we won 3 and 2. And then I remember playing my singles match against the kid off 7. And obviously it's off scratch. And I think I won 6 and 5. So it was obviously a 15 handicap that wasn't a 15 handicap. And then that was kind of the start of my Staffordshire career, really.
Did that give you the kickstart to get your handicap down?
Yeah, that was just when I started taking golf seriously. Like I say, I mean, as a kid, my handicap was high, and I probably was better than that, but I just didn't take it because I played football as well. So then I kind of, when I got picked for the county the first time, my dad kind of said to me, like, you can carry on doing both if you want, or if you want to kind of do one and take it seriously, you probably, now is the time to probably choose. And he wasn't pushy at all. My dad's always been very good like that. He kind of, I'm sure if I did pick football, it would have broken his heart, because he would have had to be there on a weekend standing on the sideline in the cold and being miserable. But and my dad obviously loved golf as well, so he was happy with that. And did have a little stumble in the road a couple of years after that, like I'm sure a lot of people do, which I'll go into more. But that was kind of how it all started, really.
Cool. Malcolm, what was your first memories of seeing Richard at Beaudesert?
Well, he's had a reputation for being a good golfer for a very, very long time. my first meeting with Richard was on a Saturday or a Sunday at Beaudesert, where me and somebody else put our name down to play with Richard and his dad John. I think it became pretty damn clear from the first stroke of the day who was the good golfer and who was the not so good golfer. Mm-hmm. Richard's a phenomenal talent. He always has been, but I think also as well, what most people would say about Richard is he's a genuinely nice guy. And at the end of the day, he's a credit to Beaudesert Golf Club. He's a credit to Staffordshire Golf, and he's a credit to his family.
Yeah, and just to give everybody who's listening and watching an insight that Richard could only fit us in tonight. We're recording this in the evening because of the dedication, the hard work he's putting in, getting ready for 2021. So that's amazing kind of work ethic, Richard. And has that always been with you, kind of taking you through your career, that kind of real, I'm going to put the work in, I'm going to get to where I want to be?
Yeah, I've kind of never, I mean, my dad honestly is one of my, well, both parents, but obviously I've got 3 sisters, and me and my dad have kind of always just had that bond with golf as well. And my parents, they've got their own business, and I've kind of just always looked up to them. And I know people, my parents do well for themselves, and people just see that who don't know them, but they don't know what they had to sacrifice at the start to kind of get to that point and to be able to provide for me and my sisters and me to be able to do what I do now. So I kind of get it. And I think I've kind of learned that off my dad. I mean, I know my dad wouldn't mind me saying this, but a lot of people don't know, but he was like living on the streets when he was his late teens and had nothing. Didn't have the best relationship with his family, which is why he's been so generous to us, because he never wanted us to go through that. My parents sacrificed everything to start their business up. And I know, like, me and my sister's childhood, we barely saw parents because they were 24/7, and my dad was nursing at the nursing home. So it was kind of just like, I think that kind of, if you want something, you've got to earn it and go and get it attitude was kind of installed in me at a young age. Yes, I've been very lucky to have be able to go to America and play a game that a lot of families A, can't afford to do, and B, yeah, I mean, my dad has always helped me with, if I need to see a coach, he's always provided that for me. And like I say, I mean, I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for that. But I've also, when I've been given those opportunities, I've really tried to kind of take advantage of them, and I don't want to look back in 5-10 years time and think, oh, I could have worked harder, and I could have, or I regret this or regret that. I don't really want to have them regrets. And you're obviously going to have some things that you think, yeah, I could have done that a little bit differently, but as long as you learn from it. And like I say, that's just kind of my take on it. Yeah, like I say, at the minute it's hard with winter golf in the UK is quite miserable, isn't it? It's especially everything that's going on at the minute. The weather we've got, it is. So like I say, I mean, I had a lesson earlier, and when I can kind of practice in the light, I want to do as much as I can, kind of thing. Because yeah, and next year is a big year for me. It's still, I haven't got to do anything different of what I've done. It's just a case of the hard work starts now, kind of thing. And I've always worked hard, but I definitely can't lay off the gas now. I'm kind of, it's like I say, when I was a kid, that having my first outing for Staffordshire Golf, when I chose to take it serious, it was like, I mean, that you first dream of becoming a professional golfer and then playing on the European Tour or something. And now that's happened. It's kind of like, well, right, you haven't achieved, you have achieved a goal, but then it's like, right, what's next, kind of thing. And you have to always keep thinking that way. And yeah, it's an exciting journey that I'm on. And like I said, there's been a lot of people, including yourself, Gareth, who've helped me along the way. And Malcolm, obviously, at the club, and everyone at Staffordshire Golf, which is why when you guys asked me, it was a privilege, and it was the least I could do, really, because especially Staffordshire Golf was a huge part of my growing up. A lot of amateurs. There was probably people at the time who thought there was people the same age to me who were probably better as a kid. Rob Burleson played for England. There was other people off low handicaps, and that was just how it was. I always wanted to play for England growing up, and never really quite got that chance. And I was always kind of on the verge. But I think as a junior golfer, I was a little bit. I probably didn't have the best attitude. I was probably a bit too full of myself sometimes, and I needed to mature really. And I think that actually really held me back as a kid. And probably all I wanted to do was play for England instead of just playing golf for me and caring about what I did, kind of thing. And now, 10 years on, kind of thing, I kind of get that. But at the time, it was like all I wanted to do, and that stopped me. And then I always seemed to do quite well when I played for the county, and I was then when I was made county captain, we had an amazing team, and then it's kind of just every year since then I feel like I've got a bit better. It hasn't been a massive, to other people it may seem that way, that you've had a big jump, but to me it hasn't been like that at all. I'd say probably since I was 17 years old, I don't feel like I just feel like I've gradually got better and better, and that's one of my biggest kind of things that I pride myself on, to be honest.
Yeah. How did the county kind of prepare you for life as a professional? What was the kind of involvement there?
I think just surrounding yourself with people who wanted to do this. We all had the same dream. We all wanted to push each other. Obviously, in Staffordshire, my kind of age group, we had a lot of good players, and I think I remember us being at the 10 counties under 16s, and our worst handicap was scratch, and at under 16, that was like really good, like really, really good.
Yeah.
Sorry, was it under 18s? Is it 10 count? I think it was under 18s. Sorry. Anyway, but we had a lot of plus handicap players, and we all used to push each other, and then just like I say, we went to nationals, and I was lucky to be in that age group really, where everyone was very good. And obviously, I mean, guys like Roger Waite, Jim Whitehouse, Mike Tunnicliffe, there was more, but at the time, they literally they were like, they were all like my like granddad in a weird way. I hope I haven't insulted them by saying that, but that's genuinely how it kind of felt. And I was genuinely proud to play for Staffordshire, and I loved it every single time. So it was quite a cool thing for me.
Awesome. Next steps for you then after kind of county, was there a crossroads? There was a decision what to do next? What was your kind of thought process?
So like I touched on, I mean, I always really wanted to play for England. I don't know what it was. I think possibly the fact that there was a couple of other lads similar age to me, Cameron Long, Rob Burleson, who had played for them, and I was jealous, to be honest, because I felt like I was I was just as good as them, and I did really well for the county. But then I just always used to get in my own way when playing in like the national tournaments in the UK and things like that. And I played okay in some, and I just put too much pressure on myself basically, and never achieved what I wanted to achieve. And then, but from a young age, I always kind of knew I wanted to go to America. Don't know what it was. When I think I was probably 14, my dad took me on a pro-am to TPC Sawgrass, and it was one of the like best golfing weeks of my life. We've both got pictures and talk about it now, but it was the first kind of taste I've had of golf in America, and just loved it out there. And I kind of, with the way I played golf, especially as a junior, I was rubbish at links golf, like rubbish how I played. I hit it quite high, quite far, and hence why I didn't do very well in the UK, because a lot of our national tournaments were kind of on links courses. So probably why I never got picked for England and stuff. But just thought I'd probably do quite well in America. And obviously you go out there, it's the land of opportunity. I wanted to go somewhere with great weather. And it was just another step up from the county. It was the same kind of environment. You've got another team of guys, all similar age, trying to do the same thing. And, but also you're getting your degree at the same time. And it's there, the opportunity is there if you're willing to put the work in. And there is guys who go and have kind of horror stories and really struggle, because there's no denying that it's tough. You go there as an 18-year-old, and I mean, me personally, before I went, I was so used to kind of my parents doing everything for me, driving me around the country to kind of play tournaments, paying entry fees, coaching fees, everything like that. Getting home, mom cooking dinner, just doing your washing, it's all of that stuff. And all of a sudden you're out in America, and it sounds ridiculous, but you've got to grow up, and you've got to learn to do all that stuff yourself. And I think that was the turning point for me, where I changed, and I became a lot maturer, and I think that helped my golf. And then I didn't worry about playing for England, because all of a sudden I was playing in America, and I really did well in America. And that kind of then set me up to where I am now. Every year out there, I always wanted to pride myself on being the hardest worker. I was fortunate enough to be on a very good team. We had quite a lot of success, and I knew that if I just worked my arse off, basically, because I had the facilities and the opportunity to do that, I could probably achieve some stuff. And like I say, I mean, it's been a huge part of my journey to where I am now.
And imagine the competitive golf out there, NCAA kind of championship side of things. It is very competitive, like you said. What was the step up like from county to collegiate golf?
I mean, yeah, it's a step up. I think the difference was, again, I go back to the England golf thing, but when I played in the UK, it was kind of like everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
You know, you know all the names. You know, he's good. Everyone knows everything about everyone. You know, because we're quite small, and that kind of. So I get to an event, and everyone in the UK, you'd know who the England team were, because they'd have their England stuff, and it would intimidate you if you weren't on it. I mean, out there, flipping it, it opened up because there's that many good golfers. That many. I played with so many people who people had never heard of, and it's like, wow, he's just shot 64 or what. And it just taught you to kind of switch off from everyone else, just focus on yourself, and basically say, like, I did kind of have the attitude of, well, I'm going to make them regret me not ever playing for England, kind of thing. That was my kind of mindset. And it was just, yeah, there's that many good players, and you travel the country and you get used to doing that. And it's just on another level, like a much wider spread. And like you say, you get used to traveling and training in the gym. Obviously, you're kind of becoming an adult now, the step up from junior golf to becoming that. So people are hitting it further. You've got your routines, and you kind of have to act as though you're a professional. And then obviously manage keeping your grades up, because if you don't, then you can't travel, and everyone wants to travel. So you're doing a degree at the same time. So like you say, it just teaches you a lot of life lessons. But the opportunity is there if you want to put the work in. I mean, I know a lot of players who I thought, he's so talented, and you wonder, like, how is he not kind of kicked on? And my only kind of, the way I see it is he couldn't have wanted it enough, or he didn't want to put the work in. And like you say, when you kind of go from 17 to 18, there's a lot of things that can kind of get in the way. People start drinking, going out, and it's hard to kind of stay motivated, because it is lonely. But I think if you want to be successful at anything, you've got to make those sacrifices and prepare to kind of be comfortable being lonely. And when I'm out there, everyone sees the success, and everyone sees everyone sees is what you've shot. That's it, and where you finished in the tournament. But they don't know, like I say, I mean, I'm sitting literally next to my gym that I've got at my house now, and I've just come out of it, and I'm training non-stop. I am putting the hours in, because, and if it wasn't for that stuff, you can't have the good things, and it never gets it basically never gets easier. I've spoke to a lot of very successful people in golf, in a lot of stuff, and they just say it doesn't get easier, kind of thing. But I also enjoy that side of it, and I think you have to learn to kind of do that. So
talk to us about your kind of day-to-day routine, Rich. What does that involve? What time do you wake up? What time do you go to bed? What's in between?
Yeah, I mean, I've flirted with different stuff. I think routines are absolutely key to anything. I don't think there's a right and wrong. During the first lot, I mean, this year it's been tough. I mean, it's been tough for everyone. Whatever you do, people have struggled, and I think it's fair enough that people have struggled. I mean, the uncertainty of knowing, and I got to the point where I really struggled getting excited for tournaments, because I'd been let down so much that tournaments been cancelled, kind of thing. So it was kind of like I had to change my mindset in terms of, actually, let's just keep a level head, keep working hard, and if you go, then great, and it's an opportunity. And if you don't, well, you kind of expect it to not go, because, like you said, there's more important things going on in the world. So yeah, for me at the minute, I'm actually taking I was doing a thing called the 5 a.m. club, where I was getting up at 5. The first hour of my day, it sounds ridiculous, but I was first 20 minutes exercise to kind of get my heart rate up. Next 20 minutes was kind of like a self-reflection, where I write a little journal and just kind of reminders of stuff and how I'm feeling. Just can be anything. Next 20 minutes is kind of like the learning phase, where I might listen to a podcast, read a book I'm reading, and then have some breakfast, like to go out with a dog. And I did that for probably about 2 months. And I quickly realized that it was great, but I couldn't keep it up, because I don't go to bed early enough to do that. And I didn't want to start doing that, because I'm living with my fiance, and she gets home from work, and actually on the nights I also enjoy sitting down watching TV with her before, and I enjoyed that side of life as well. So I soon realized that if I wanted to kind of have a successful relationship, which I definitely do, I couldn't just be purely 5 a.m. club, going to bed at 9 o'clock, like so strict on everything. So like I say, I flirted with that, it didn't work. Right now, I am a bit more relaxed. I kind of get up probably at 6:30. I'll make some breakfast, mobility, absolutely every single morning. Take the dog out, and then depends what I've got on, but go to golf first. When I'm at golf, I will never go to the golf club without knowing what I'm going to do that day. So I don't have a thing where it's on a Monday I'm doing this, and a Tuesday I'm doing this, and a Wednesday doing this. It kind of depends where I'm at with my game. And obviously I look at my stats, I look at what I'm good at the minute, what I'm not as good at. Obviously going off this past year, I can kind of hands down say, and my stats prove it, that my tee ball is world class. I know that is, I hit it long enough. Yes, I play with people who hit it longer than me, but in terms of my accuracy and length, that isn't a part of my game that I need to work on this winter. I'm not going to go down that phase that everyone else is, trying to bulk up and hit it miles and chase 200 mile an hour ball speed. That's not what's going to make me win on tour. So that's good enough. Yes, I've got to keep that. My approach play from 130 to, over 130, I will hands down. I gain all the time. It is world class. So 130 and in, well, no, it's not good enough. It simply wasn't good enough this year. There was times when it was good enough, but in terms of consistency and kind of going off my stats, well, if I'm so good off the tee and I'm quite long, I'm going to have a lot of those shots. And if they're not good enough, then you're kind of wasting being so good off the tee. so it's just working out, and so right now I am focusing on them scoring clubs. So what I'd like to do is anything that is my biggest focus and priority, well, just get that done first. So make sure, like you say, you can tick that off, right, I've done what I needed to do. Lucky enough to kind of have TrackMan, and I have loads of practice routines, games that I do. Malcolm probably knows, he's always told me, but my putting as well. I'm better than I used to be, but again, it's still something that I just want to get a bit more consistency with, and I'm working on it. And I'm not a bad putter at all. Some people tell me I'm an amazing putter, but they might be the one they've played with me once when I hold the world, and sometimes that does happen. But I just think I'll have a bit more success if I can just find a bit more consistent with that. So again, 130 and in, and with the putter is my kind of 75% of my practice at the minute. And then I'm lucky enough, like I said, I've recently moved house, and I transformed my garage into a gym. So I've got that at home, don't have to go down local gyms now and risk kind of being around everyone. That was something I wanted to do. So I'm very into that side of things, and I work with my trainer, Andy Caldwell, and physio as well. So I've got my program in place there, but kind of my routine does change, but I've always got a routine. There's no kind of just winging it for me, because like I say, I mean, I'm a professional golfer. I have to act like a professional. So I think that's very important. I know a lot of people, friends who are pros as well, who don't. And I just see that. I think that's kind of the difference, why I've managed to kind of keep raising the bar and kind of keep improving. And I think anything in life, if you want to have success, you just need to be consistent.
Yeah, you talked about kind of climbing that ladder from collegiate golf into the professional ranks. Won very, very quickly on the Euro Pro, then into Challenge Tour, now onto the European Tour. As you said, what did make that difference? Was it the fact that you kind of really understood how to play on tour very quickly, or was that a learning experience you went along?
I think I just really wanted to. I actually remember the turning point of my first year on Europro like it was yesterday. I was chatting to a guy called James Roof, who has been on tour before, but he's now PGA pro and plays a bit of Europro. And I remember chatting to him, and I started out in 17 and I was on Europro. 2018. So I turned pro 2017, went to Q school, got my card for Europro in 2018. It's my first year, and at the start, I was just putting so much pressure on myself to kind of do well and score. And I felt like I was playing quite well, but not getting the results I wanted. And he kind of just chatted to me about that. And I was definitely, like I say, how I used to be, trying to play for England golf, too much pressure, all of that. And changed my mindset. And then, I mean, people who don't know, Europro top 5 on the Order of Merit Challenge, graduate to the Challenge Tour. And you have to be, the prize money is very top heavy. So you have to kind of win. If you don't win, then you're probably not going to be top 5 at the end of the year, because guys can kind of, you could make every cut and finish 10th, and have someone who misses every cut but wins once and finishes second once, and he'll be ahead of you, kind of thing. So you have to have that mindset of, it's a developmental tour. Imagine football, it's like playing in League One. So it's the third kind of below the Premier League and Championship. But you've also got to respect it, and there's a lot of good players there, and there's guys who've been on tour and they've come back and they're back on Europro, but they've won on the European Tour. So people know how to play. And I finished second twice in my first year. Both times, no, probably once, I probably should have won the golf tournament. I had a 3-shot lead with 8 to play and didn't. And at the time, I just remember thinking it was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. People talk about bottling it, and I well and truly bottled it. And I will happily say that I was cacking my pants kind of thing the last few holes, because I remember my first Jamaica Tour event as a pro, and I think I picked up about 450 quid. And I remember my entry was about, I'd literally profited maybe after my week's spent expenditure, maybe about a tenner. But just that first check of, oh, I've made a professional, and it was just like, oh, like that was, it was a feeling like you kind of, and then you just get, I remember making my first check for about £1,000, and it was like, oh, okay, even though after your week's expenditure, you're not getting anywhere near that, but it was kind of just like every time trying to learn from it and getting more comfortable, making a bit more, and actually, because people say you don't think of it, all of that, and you as obviously a psych, you know, golfers, we are going to think of that. People ask me about, do I look at leaderboards and stuff like that? And it's like, I do, absolutely. Yeah. I spent my whole childhood dreaming of when I'm going to be a professional golfer and getting to see my name on a leaderboard. When I see it, I'm going to look at it, kind of thing. So actually, it's a case of learning how to control it and kind of embracing the situation. And I love being nervous now. I absolutely thrive off it. I think if nerves come, well, it's obviously a good thing, because I must be up by the lead. Do you know what I mean? So they're the situations you want to be in. And what's the worst that can happen? Well, you lose. Okay, we go again. Like, and you just learn from your mistakes, basically. So yeah, finished second twice and learned from that. And then I remember that last season on Europro, and I went into that. I was quite gutted that I didn't get my challenge card, but I wanted to kind of go into last season with a different mindset. I wanted to say, I'm here, and I want people to kind of know that I'm here. Just because I've turned pro that first year, I actually started like looking around and seeing what everyone else was doing. I actually kind of said, no, like, you want to be the person who everyone else is looking at and saying, oh, what's he doing? And I just had a very strong mindset like that. I took a caddy on. So I invested some of my sponsorship in that, because I kind of just had the mindset of, in this game, you got to spend money to make money. So I wanted to kind of have a caddy. And the biggest thing I said, there's no reason, even though I'm not a top 10 player in the world, there's no reason why I can't act like it. And there's no reason, even though I'm playing on Europro, there's no reason I can't act at these tournaments like I'm playing in a major or I'm playing on the European Tour. And that was my biggest mindset. And I was actually doing some work with you at the time, and we kind of put a little plan in place with, and I still do it now. The back of my pin sheet, it works for me, like tick off, have how many fairways I'm going to hit, how many birdies I want to make that day, and tick them off as I go along, because it kind of makes me focus on that. And that makes me focus on the shot to shot, instead of just kind of being out there and not kind of know what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just had a really good start to the year in Europe. I had a couple of seconds and then eventually won. And it was like the monkey was kind of off my back, and probably should have won a couple more times. I didn't. But then I was lucky enough to, halfway through the year, already secured that I was going to be top 5, which meant that I could go and play on the Challenge Tour, and I had an invite. And that kind of mindset on the Challenge Tour of that first invite was just, I had to finish top 10 to get into the next week. I only had one invite. So I always like kind of having to do something when my back's against the wall. I kind of tend to pull it out, and finished top 10 that first week, which got me into Belgium the next week. And then I went to Belgium, and I remember I was tied for the lead at 18 under par after 3 rounds, shot 66, 65, 64, and finished top 5 in that week, which got me into the next week in France. And then all of a sudden I was finishing top 10 to get into the next week because I had to. And then got my better category on the Challenge Tour. And a little story, just a quick one that is my favorite story since turning pro. And it sounds so ridiculous. It's mine and my caddy's favorite story, but not literally no one knows about this. Like you say, everyone remembers the real highs and your great rounds. Mm. And it's one of the highest scores I've shot as a pro. But that first top 10 in Northern Ireland on the Challenge Tour, I remember shooting 5 under the first round, and I was in second. And I go out the second day, and it's actually the World Invitational hosted by Modest Golf, who I'm now signed to, but at the time that I wasn't. So I'm playing around, and like I say, start of the day, I'm in second place. and I'm 8 over par after 15 holes. And I was not playing that bad. It was just playing quite tough, and we weren't quite getting the wind right. And I just felt like I was getting screwed that day. Like, and we all know as golfers that can happen to us. Golf is the hardest game in the world. And I remember being on the 16th tee, and I was outside the cut line, I think by 3 shots. And my caddy literally looked at me and just said, like, you know what you've got to do. Like, you always seem to do something when you have to. And something just switched. And I remember 16, hitting my drive in the fairway, hitting my 9-iron to about 2 foot, knocking it in for birdie. 17, hit my drive down the fairway, hit my pitching wedge to 1 foot, birdie. 18, par 5, hitting the longest drive I've ever hit. You normally hit 3-wood in. I hit 6-iron into about 7 foot and actually missed to finish birdie, birdie, eagle. But I finished birdie, birdie, birdie to make the cut on the number. So to shoot 5 over, and then had a good weekend and finished 10th, which got me into Belgium. Yeah, so like I said, I mean, I don't want to feel like I'm just talking about myself, but something like that, I feel like in terms of Staffordshire golfers, especially juniors, can kind of really, if you can kind of learn from that at a young age, that one, there's no race, there's no rush, just keep getting better. Doesn't matter. I mean, actually, I think the people who kind of achieve quite a lot at a young age, it can hurt you. I'm glad. I wouldn't change what's happened to me at all. But yeah, just going back to that round of golf, it was just a little moment. And like I say, I'm 8 over par. Like, when people, and bearing in mind, I was in second, and now I'm outside the cut, and it's kind of just so easy to think, I'll just go back to the Europro where I was comfortable, finish the year on there, get my top 5, and where I was already secure. But it was kind of like, actually, no, while we're here, you've still got 3 holes and you never know what's going to happen. And birdied them 3, which got me into the next week, almost won in Belgium. Next week, shot 64 the second round to make the cut. Finished, I think, 11th or 12th. Didn't top 10 to get into the next week, but the Challenge Tour saw that. And then they gave me 2 more invites. I ended up playing 7 events on the Challenge Tour and finishing 64th on the rankings, which got me inside the top 70, which was category 10 on the Challenge Tour, which was better than the category you get than finishing top 5 on the Europro, which meant this year it was going to basically secure, I was going to get in all the events. Because I have had category 10 this year, I managed to get into the 2 coast sanction events, which one of them I almost won and finished second. So going back, if I don't finish birdie, birdie, birdie when I'm 8 over, I wouldn't have played in Austria this year, and I wouldn't now have finished top 5 because I wouldn't have been in the event. So it's kind of like, for me, it's a case of actually, yeah, okay, you always remember your great rounds, but actually that is my proudest moment, because my back was firmly against the wall, and I was 8 over par. I was playing horrendous, and I still, okay, yes, someone would look and think, oh, he shot 75, he shot 5 over, but for me, it was a big thing, and that was the moment for me that kind of really kicked me on, and kind of proved to me that I do have that extra gear when I need it. And it's exciting. And like I say, I'm at the very, very start of what hopefully is a really long and amazing career. But I think it's important to kind of always remember where you come from, and just those little moments. I mean, in everything everyone does, you always have them. I call them little light bulb moments. And that for me has been the biggest one. There's been a couple more. I had one this year in Austria with Connor, and Connor's my caddy, and obviously had an amazing year last year. I was absolutely gutted that I didn't get my card at tour school. I changed a couple of things at the end of the year, which I shouldn't have done, but I've learned from that now. And I really got off to a rough start this year. I was struggling in South Africa, first time over there. So yes, it is tough. It's different, but I was really not in a very good place. I wasn't in a good place with my swing. And then obviously COVID happened and we didn't have any events. And that for me came at quite a good time because I was struggling and I had some work to do on my mental game and actual games and my swing. So I did all that in my garden, like a lot of people. But then went out to Austria for the first event and missed the cut again, but actually felt like I played quite well and a couple of shots here and there. And I remember we got to the second event and I'm sitting there with my caddy and he just asked me like, he kind of just like, what's going on? I didn't really know. Whereas last year I always knew like, where we were at and so on. And I didn't really know what to say. And he just said like, we were sitting there and we were watching the PGA Tour and Colin Morikawa was on the TV. Sam Burns was up. Colin Morikawa and Sam Burns were both up by the leaders. And he literally said to me, 3 years ago, you were playing these guys in the Palmer Cup in America. You beat Sam Burns. You're playing Morikawa in the foursomes. These guys are now on the PGA Tour winners. Morikawa's got a major and you've just missed 4 cuts in a row this year and you're struggling. And it was just like, you need to have the mindset of you can win and you're good enough. And it was a little light bulb moment. We had like a bit of a heart to heart. And that's why I feel so lucky to have him on my bag, because it's more than just a caddy and player relate. It's more than just a business relationship with what a lot of players have with their caddies. There's a lot more to it. Like I say, I mean, he goes through all the highs and all the lows, and there's a lot more lows than highs. People will realize if they choose to kind of turn pro and kind of go through it. But
do you need that friendship on tour? Do you need that friendship there that you guys have got, the close friendship and the understanding to have those heart to hearts to get you through the tough times?
I think it depends on you. I don't think there's a right answer to that. I personally, I'm not there. I have players that I get on well with, and there's players who go out on tour and a lot of their best friends are out there. My friends are at home. I grew up with them. They're all normal lads my best mate's a prison officer, so on. So I like coming home and having my friends. So when I'm out on tour, I don't want to be trying to be best friends with everyone. Bottom line is I'm trying to beat them. So I find it weird that I'm then going to be best mates. But my caddy, who's on my team, I think for me it is important. Like I say, some players like to have just a business relationship with their caddy and they hang around with players and then they meet their caddy at the course. Whereas I don't want to be that way. And I did try that in South Africa and I hated it. With me and my caddy, like I say, he gets me, we bring the best out of each other, and just for us, that's what works. So I think, like you said, there's no right or wrong. Everyone's different. And I've kind of figured out quite early on that what works for me and how I want to work. Being that way, I much prefer it. And there's no getting past it. It's a very lonely place out there, especially when you're playing bad, which is going to happen at times. So when you are, you do need someone. Mental health is a massive thing that people talk about nowadays, and athletes, they're prone to it kind of thing. It's tough, especially like you say, when things aren't going your way and you're kind of devoting your life to something and it seems to just not be happening. But the good times and the positive times and your successes kind of make everything worthwhile, and that's what keeps me going, kind of thing. I love that it is a journey and there's going to be the highs and there's going to be the lows, and like you say, when you get successes, it kind of makes everything worthwhile. So
amazing. Let's talk about that kind of success and that next step that you're going on at the moment. How are your thoughts, what are your feelings from that graduation from the Challenge Tour now onto the European Tour? What has kind of really stood out for you?
I think it's important to kind of just sometimes sit back and reflect and look at how far you have come, kind of thing. And me, yes, it has been quite quick. it's always been a dream, and it's something I am really proud of. But like I say, it's not just me. There's a lot of people who have been a part of it since I was a kid. So like I say, that's why I want to give back, and hopefully, like I say, eventually I'm a nobody right now, but I want to go kind of as far as I can go in this game, and like kind of my goals and stuff like that, I like to keep quite internal. But anyone who knows me on a personal level knows that I am a very confident person, and some people probably used to think I was quite arrogant and stuff, and I think I've kind of come out of that, and I'm at a stage now where, like I say, I just know that I work hard, and I've got some great people around me, and I'm happy as well. I think that's a big part of it. Like you say, you've got to have that balance, and like I say, you are the one hitting the shots and the one who probably gets all the attention and the success, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and there's no kind of, I don't think you can ever lose sight of that, really. So yeah.
Amazing. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure, and honestly a joy to listen to. I could sit here and listen to you all night, so it's been amazing. Malcolm, do you want to finish and add anything?
I just find it absolutely fascinating. I think there's for the viewers, for the listeners, I think there's 3 or 4 things that are really key. First of all, you got to have talent. Secondly, you've got to have a good work ethic. Thirdly, you've got to have belief. And fourth, for me, what Richard is doing, he's learning his trade. It doesn't matter whether you're a carpenter, whether you're an accountant, you have to learn your trade. Richard is learning year by year, hence the reason he's achieving. I wish him all the best for 2021. And any of you juniors that are out here looking at watching this is what you need to do if you want to have a career as a professional golfer. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Malcolm, thank you so much. Richard, thank you so much again, sir. Really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great Christmas, but most importantly, we hope you have a real successful 2021 on the European Tour, mate. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate that. And lastly, like I said, I'd just like to finish. I mean, I'm if it's junior golfers or whoever's listening, there's I know as juniors, there's a lot of people, they think we always think we know everything and stuff. But the biggest thing that I can say is just kind of always have an open ear and just take advice where you can. And if you kind of keep that mindset, and just because people are going to give you advice doesn't mean you have to listen to it, but allow it to kind of come in. And sometimes you might hear something from someone who it kind of really can help. And especially the guys playing for the county, the guys like you lot don't have to do it, kind of thing. And kind of just have that appreciation where you're all just looking out for players and kind of trying to give them the opportunity to succeed. So kind of welcome it with open arms and just work hard. And you don't want to look back in 10 years and think, oh, I wish I did that. And that's kind of I kind of go back to, I don't want to look back in a few years and think I should have worked harder and have any regrets. So yeah, fingers crossed 2021 looks better for everyone, and we can all start enjoying our golf again and going in the clubhouse after and having a beer and all of that, because I know we can't at the minute. But no, so like I said, I mean, it was the least I could do, and thank you for having me. So
thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. Thank you everybody for listening and watching out there, and we'll see you again soon.